I'm Mochismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share, give a thumbs up to this video if you found it helpful. Pass it on if you believe someone else will benefit from it. I would appreciate that. Well, guys, I was looking for my mics. I haven't been able to find them. I'll just let them find me. I've had problems in times past with either not having my mic on, not having the mic, having a video that I just really wanted to get out, and just relying on the microphone in the phone. And I've had complaints and comments about not being able to hear the audio. I do hear you, and I consider your comments very important, and I apologize, but there are certain things that are going on sometimes that forbid me, or they kind of complicate that situation, and one of which is like now I don't have my mics. I have to find them. But in times when I forget to turn the microphone on, these are just things that are human error, and I hope you guys can forgive me. Just turn your volume all the way up when you determine that that video is not audible, and put your earbuds in. And because if the beginning of the video is inaudible, chances are the whole video is going to be at that volume. So if you turn that volume all the way up for the duration of that video and put some earbuds in, I think you'll be able to hear the whole video, because some of those videos are very important, just as much as the other ones that you can hear. And so you don't want to miss something that you probably need to hear. So do what you can to help me get through that obstacle there, and benefit from it as well. Thank you. So let's talk about when the awakened narcissist realizes who and what they are. When they really truly realize they are what they are, because a lot of them don't know what they are and who they are. They just know they're just a bumbling mistake walking around. They don't know how they got that way, because in their mind's eyes, and from all accounts, what they're doing is justifiable. And it's times when people hold them accountable is when they have those moments of correction, and a lot of times they don't get it even then, because it doesn't jive with what they've lived most of their life. They've gone about their life doing whatever they damn well please, being entitled, giving what they want, when they want it, how they want it. And if they didn't get it, they threw temper tantrums, and that person submitted to their qualms. And so you have to understand that that's how they are. They don't know is like no is like a pesticide to them. They wither like a flower when you tell them that. This is why a lot of them, when their parents, the entitled narcissist children, when their parents either tell them they're not going to buy them that car that they want, the car that they bought them is adequate, and they want another different type of car. This is why you've had some kids go on to unalive their parents. The Menendez brothers, for example, and then not only when the Menendez brothers unalived their parent, they pretended to be victims, and they both had a story, and they're not good liars, by the way. They showed no remorse. Just their whole behavior and mannerism tells you that they're disordered. And so this is what happened. You raise demons. And you may say, man, how do you know whether you're raising a narcissist kid or not? Well, I'll tell you how you can kind of combat that at a very early stage, if you are aware and your child is young enough. Even now, if your child is grown, that's water on the bridge, but you have to start implementing boundaries in your life. Tell them, I just can't afford that. You don't have to say, no, I'm not going to get you that, because that incites hostility in them. There's ways around it. There's alternative ways to respond. You say, I'm not able, I can't afford it right now. And then you're still going to be deemed the enemy if you say it that way. So, but the thing is, once you come to that point of no return, these privileges that we give our children, our family members, all in good spirits and for good intentions, this is what and how narcissists often are created. They don't get told no enough. So, staying on point, the narcissist awakening to who they are and what they are causes them to have like a half a second of introspecting, like, man, I am that. And they get this awakening from a lot of things, much like listening to us. They get it, the information, like much like we got information about them and we awakened, they awakened when we're talking about them. And so once they conclude that they are who they are, they make a decision that, wow, I do that, I do this. Oh well. That's probably what they end up saying. Conclude, oh well, they deserve it. Oh well, I deserve it. I'm getting that. Oh well, they didn't need it anyway. Oh well, tough luck. Or whatever record is playing in their head. And so they go on to continue to be that. Only difference is they are a little more aware of who they are and what they are. And not even so much why they do what they do, because I don't even think they can put that together, because they don't get the fact that in their mind they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. They go through life doing these things to people, manipulating, hurting people, and they don't see any problem with it. And so when you come along and give them some get right and some introspecting to do, they can't put that together, because they get panicky. They don't want to sit long enough with that thought, so they abort that thinking pattern and they go on the counter assault. They go on that heightened alert, destroy and conquer. And this is another way that they behave when they are awakened, and even when they're not awakened, because they're paranoid individuals anyway. Say you get a narcissist to walk in a room of friends, family, or just a group of people. They could be total strangers and say it's a birthday party or something. Everybody's sitting in there waiting on the birthday person to come, and then in walks a narcissist. And everybody sort of looks to the door like I'm looking now. When the door opens and the individual comes through the door, you'll hear an awakened narcissist, or sometimes unawakened. They will knee-jerk say, what I do? What are y'all staring at? Why you're staring at me like that? And they'll say it in a comical way, almost like to make humor out of it, but you'll see the sincereness in their eyes, and their body language will tell you they really need you to tell them what the hell you staring at, because they can't put it together that, wow, I just walked through the door. They're not staring at anything. They just kind of looked over at me, because that's just what people cause and effect. You and I would not do that. We would just come in that room and say, hey, how are you doing? And or throw our hands up if we're not talkative. We would do something, anything but what? When they say what do y'all, what? That what is, I'm confused. They cannot put it together because they are paranoid. They assume the worst about everything. And so this is why they ask that dumbass question. And it's kind of funny when you are awakened empath and you see this. And a lot of times, if you just want to starve them, you just look at them when they say, what are y'all staring at? If everybody in that room could just keep a stark silence, that narcissist, who knows, but that narcissist would probably decompose right in front of you, because they need to know. So they throw that, what I do? They'll even say that, what I do? It's like everything is about them. And so they need to throw a feeler out there like, what are y'all staring at? Or whatever they ask you. They really need that answer, because that feeler is for you to make sense out of the nonsense in their head. They need to know whether your stare is, we know who you are, or is that stare non-threatening. Oh, we just heard the door and we look, that's all. That's what they need to hear. So once you tell them that, and they can conclude that you don't know who they are or what they are, in their mind at least, they can go on and continue to manipulate. But if they have any kind of unction that you might know they are, they go on what you call a Harrison Ford run. They become fugitives. And as Harrison Ford began to try to tell these people, I didn't kill my wife, it was a one-armed man, just come in and talk to us. We just want to, we'll work this out. He could tell in their voice on the phone that they knew that he knew that they was going to keep him and lock his ass up. So he went on the run. He did his own investigative work. Now, much like Harrison Ford, that is how narcissists in their head react when they are awakened to who and what they are, when they have to deal with people. Everywhere they go, they think someone knows who they are. This is what their awakening does to them. It compounds their paranoia. It turns their paranoia up on full blast. They're already paranoid to begin with. But once they're awakened and aware, they have to be constantly bombarded on top of the voice that the inner critic they already had before they awakened. They have a double dose of that, because now they have to wonder, does anybody really, really, truly know who I am and what I am? Because this voice is telling them, you know who you are and what you are, so everybody else does. So, of course, they have to keep that a secret. They have to keep the fact that they are a manipulative piece of, shush. They have to let, they have to alleviate this paranoia. And so they'll go in a place, and if there's any kind of awkwardness, say that stare. If people just casually staring around in the room and just glancing, casually observing, and if you stare at them 2 or 3 times in a row, you'll look over in that corner and they'll be gone. So this is effective in many ways. But let's say if you're not awakened and you look over in that corner and you see they're gone, you'd be like, what happened to them? You're inquisitive, but you have no clue that that person was an awakened narcissist, or even unaware. The paranoia is just too much to handle, so they got to get out of that space. And so they'll get out of that space, and what they're often do, they'll get in a corner of the room where they can be behind you, so they can watch you. They don't want to be watched. They don't want to be watched, but they want to be the center of attention, but they don't want to be watched. Go figure. They want attention, but when you start staring at them and you don't give any verbal feelers, because they measure you by a lot of your body language, but they predominantly measure your mood by what you say, how you say it, your tone. They can measure your anger, they can measure your sadness, your grieving, all by the tone. And so that's important. So your silence speaks volume. Your silence kills them. And so when you understand this as awakened empath, you can fall back and stop wishing that narcissists come back, because they're on borrowed time, man. It doesn't matter how many moments of the past that you can recapture and rethink about that you had with them that was harmonious. That was all the setup. That was all the setup to tear you down. Why you think you're here ruminating about those past times you had when times were good? Because they were fake past times. They were passing the time, setting you up to tear you down. And that's when they snatch that rug from under you. This is what you're left with. So let this be the first day or the last time that you think about, man, I miss this about them, I miss that about them, because it was all an illusion. And I know that's hard to grasp when you were in that relationship. You were there. You know it was real, but it was real to you. That's not what we're saying. It wasn't real to you, but it wasn't real in the sense for both of you all. It wasn't real for them. It was a game to them. So that's what we're talking about. It was not real. So you were the only one in that relationship. So I hope this helps, guys. That being said, bless.